So let's talk about proxies repository. I have created diagram. I mean, this is Maven central repository. This is our private cloud or on-premises data center where we created our Nexus repository, and we have connected with Maven Central to download, if necessary, some artifacts. If Nexus has, let's see how it works. VM asks in Nexus proxy repository some artifact. If Nexus doesn't have this repository, this artifact, it call Maven Central and download it, save in self, and give it to virtual machine, to consumer. What is most, if Nexus has this artifact, it just give that artifact without connecting with Maven. What are benefits? It's private, it's always available, and always contain neat artifacts. Sometimes Maven delete artifacts, sometimes Maven Central have maintenance. So yes, it is very bad action when you try to build your Docker, for example, Docker image, and your Maven Central is not available. It's a common problem. So people use proxy, and also it save traffic between, if we don't, and speed of downloading artifact, because distance small between in the same data center. You don't need to wait, and your traffic doesn't flow through a lot of hops, and which also took some time. So what kinds of proxies, what kinds of artifacts of repositories we can have? We can have proxy, which just proxy Maven or something else, and this is one kind. The second kind is hosted. This is a repository where we can publish our artifacts. And the third kind of repository is group. We can combine these two kinds into one Nexus group and call to one URL to both of them. So let's define some work scheme. Let's see this diagram. This is lifecycle. As I can see, we have developer who makes some code, some library, push it to Git, and Git triggers Jenkins job. Jenkins job pipeline, it tested different action do with our code and build artifact, which will be pushed to Nexus. And developer can also use that artifact from repository. developer also can publish in local repository, and if developer doesn't have needed artifact in local repository, he can download this repository from Nexus. So we define permission to developer, for developer to read, and for Jenkins to read, upgrade, create artifactory, because we need to push to Nexus. So let's start. We're working with Maven. So now we're in settings, repositories. We can create repository. Let's choose proxy. We defined name sv proxy, then releases, mix it, strict inline, and here we need to define our maven address. Let's Google it. Maven central, here it is. Copy, let's copy it. So, and paste. What? Okay. Here it is. Let's copy and paste. HTTPS. Okay, now it's correct. Let's save. Let's create it. Sv proxy. We created. Let's create it another type. It's will be hosted repository. Just sv. Just sv. Release mixed. Strict inline. Default. Allow deploy. Let's save it. Okay. We have two kind of or repositories. So next kind of repository, we can create group. Let's create sv group. Call it strict, and we just add our proxy and our sv. Let's create it. So we have group repository. We also here can copy URLs, and we need to define roles. First, let's create roles for our developer and Jenkins. And as you might guess, when we create repository, it creates some Nexus also creates privileges for these repositories. Let's create role for Nexus role for developer. Let's call it developer. Let's call it developer. Okay, then we can define privileges, and we can filter all privileges with which Nexus us. We can filter by SV because we call all of them SV, and we can define browse. Deleted it. We shouldn't give that permissions. This is means all permissions. Group browse, group edit, group read, and proxy browse, edit, proxy read. So group browse, read. So we add all necessary permission. Let's save this role. Let's create another one. Nexus role, Jenkins. Jenkins mav. Call it maven. Okay, and also give permission to SV, but here we can transfer all of them and save. So next step is to create users. Let's create user. Let's name dev, first name dev, dev and password 123. Make him active and define roles. Developer, and create. We create dev and Jenkins. Password we will use the same, active, and role is Jenkins maven. Let's save it. So we have repositories, we have roles, and we have user with defined roles. So what's the next step? Next step is to configure our Jenkins master node and maven. And before we start, let's copy our repositories. Here it is. This is SV. The second one is group. Copy group and proxy for now we just use these two, but then we try to change to this. And let's copy our users, dev and jenk. Okay, dev and jenk. Save also our users, devgenk and password. We define it for both the same, because where is our directory? We can also find this file in our maven directory, maven home. Maven home will display it when we type mvn//v means version. It show us path. Let's move to that directory. Let's check what's inside. We have conf directory. Let's cd to conf, and we see our settings.xml. Let's configure it. Nano settings.xml. We can delete all. I will pause. So I have defined this is settings in XML. I define servers section. I defined ID Nexus per means proxy with username and password, and for Nexus, which will be just SV server where we deploy our artifacts. And here I defined mirror section where I defined Nexus proxy ID and address to it, and this is a standard configuration which I get from Nexus site. Let's write it. Okay, I forgot to open it with sudo. So I have defined settings.xml. Let's see what inside. We can see that here is server section where we define password, and I forgot to change this. Let's open and Nexus per. This is Nexus proxy. So now, yes, Nexus proxy here, and the second Nexus, the first Nexus server, this is Nexus. We call the artifactory where we deploy our artifact. Let's navigate to Jenkins and define pipeline. Okay, so pipeline create. So next we define script. Where it is. let's make, here it is. Okay, here it is our script. So here stage clone, stage test and compile, stage deploy. First we clone from this repository. This is one. Here it is URL. It has two branches, master and main. So because of we use a master and it is public, we don't define any credentials or branch. If you would like to clone from main, you use git branch, then URL. If you would like to use with credentials ID, you need to firstly define credentials. You can define SSHK, or you can use plugin branch source and use token. Let's talk about next. We define maven clean, maven compile, maven package. Then we deploy this artifact with skipping test and keeping compiling to save some time. Let's try it, to run it, and look what's happened. We build now to run, and it started. Here is my build. It's successful. I also show you my library pom.xml, where I defined distribution management, where ID for our server Nexus. In settings.xml I defined credentials and URI for artifacts. This is URI where we deploy our artifacts. In settings.xml we defined Nexus Pro, which means proxy, which downloaded artifacts. This is proxy, this is hosted, where we deployed our new artifact. Let's see our SV repository. We deploy, this is our library which we built, and deploy here. And also we have proxy, where we download all necessary artifacts for build. You can see in pom.xml that we download different plugins, and also here is dependencies JUnit 4, JUnit 5. Let's see, JUnit we have 4, Java parent, here is also JUnit, and here is JUnit 5 engine. So we download all necessary artifacts. So next step is to build other artifact. Let's see, we have also repository micro, where I created microservice, and let's see in pom.xml we define artifactor, we have dependencies, we have plugins different, we have defined different test, pmd plugin, check style plugin, and other. And also we have repositories section where we download. Here is our hosted repository, as you can see, and here is also hosted repository, but in distribution management. In distribution management is for deploying this artifact. In repository sections, we define it to download our model dependency, which we built. Here it is. This model. This dependency we need to download from here. We don't have it in our proxy, and we can check if we use it appears or not in proxy. Let's create another build. New item, micro, also pipeline, and let's define yes, Groovy script. Here it is. So we clone this repository and just run deploy. Let's save it and build. Let's stop. Yes, let's wait. So our pipeline is ended, success, and we can check our SWE, and we can see this is our model, this is our micro artifact. Let's check our proxy. Our proxy, do we have UA? Stop. This is UA co. UA co. Let's check UA co. We don't see this artifact because it is not downloaded to proxy, because it's on the same server. Okay, let's try to use group. As I mentioned before, group, this is combination of proxy and hosted repository with our artifacts. Let's try it. We need to reconfigure our Jenkins. Let's open PowerShell. Let's see what inside. Let's try to modify this. Sudo none. Okay, we delete this one because we use the group and we need only one. Let's delete. Okay, Nexus, and here we define Nexus, and here group. So let's save it, and I need to make some changes in our so I have made changes in our repositories. In here it is model repository, and I make changes. I change in distribution management. Here is repository Nexus, and I use SV group, the same as we defined it for proxy. So let's try to build it. We need to return to this pipeline and build now. For now it crashes because it can't deploy. So now I change back to SV. Let's update back to SV, and let's try again to build this pipeline. For now it's success. We deploy it. So build success, deploy it to repository. Let's check it in repositories. Back SV group, and we can see you are here all necessary, all the repositories. But when we look back at proxy, we can see that UR we don't have here, and we don't have with dev. It's only in our SV, but in group they all here. Okay, let's talk about Gradle. For now, let's review our setup. We have proxy repository, we have SV repository. With SV we see 1 second micro. UA we have only one model. And also we have group repository, well, all of them, and also present these two repositories. First step, we need to install our Gradle in Node. Let's see in my notes how we can do it. Let's begin from scratch. Here is installation script. You can find it on official Gradle site. The most important thing is address where you can download Gradle. Then we unzip it, then we create a script. In script we add two variables. One variable Gradle home, the second one is path, where we use Gradle home, add to path. Then we add permission to execute this script and execute the script. Next important thing is Gradle properties. We need Gradle properties to define passwords for our repositories. We also can define it as password and username as environment variable, but I suppose the better use properties. And where we can find them, as you can see, Gradle home, opt Gradle, here is opt, gradle, gradle, and version. So in this directory you can see this also. Imagination, opt gradle, then gradle version, and inside this directory we can add gradle properties. In properties we define key and value. Here is an example. Then okay, next step, let's see to our Jenkins. In Jenkins we can have also problems with Jenkins to run Gradle because it not always find path. So how to solve it? We can navigate to manage Jenkins, nodes, and select needed node. Here it is, and we have configure. In configure, node properties, and select environment variables and define Gradle home, address, where is folder, as I displayed in previous in VS Code. You can see that the same value, and we also need to define path and define this Gradle home bin path, the same what we defined inside our script. So we need to our build correct work. Next step, let's see how we can define this is the same what I said before. Next, we in build.gradle we need to define plugin maven publish. We define properties, and we define our repositories. First one is the maven repository. This is a group where we can download our necessary artifacts. We need to add allow insecure protocol true because we use HTTP, and we need to define credential. This the same credential which we defined in properties file. Here is values, and here we use it. Next, dependency and other tasks maybe, and last one is publishing section. We define our group, artifact, version. Here we use our project to use our variables, group, artifact, and version, which we defined above. Here we defined pom, where we write name, description, license, developers, SCM, and we also define repository. Here we defined a SWE repository where we deploy our artifact, and we use again use our credentials from properties file, which inside Jenkins node. And here is our script. Let's use it. Copy and create a new job. Let's create Gradle pipeline, okay, and define script. Let's save it and run. Let's wait. So our job is ended successfully, and we can check our, for example, SV, where we can find svdev, and we can see tiered jar. We can also see it in groups. Can also see this tiered artifact. So check what I made one mistake. Should be corrected. I forgot that Gradle doesn't have artifact ID, so we need to define variable and then use it, just artifact here. So let's discuss about Docker, and let's navigate to repositories. Let's find Docker. Let's add Docker proxy. Doc. We call it doc proxy. HTTP. Here are steps to configure proxy for Docker Hub. Define a name, then define Docker IO. Okay. You can define Docker IO. Then enable support with add-in version 1 and index Docker Hub support version 1. Use Docker Hub here, index, use Docker Hub, and select block store for storage. Block store default use and create. So we created. Okay, Docker proxy. Let's create Docker hosted. Docker hosted doc. Let's call it doc. Enable v1. Define port. Connector. Port. Okay. Let's define 455 and create. Next, let's create group. Docker group. Doc group. Doc group. HTTP. Okay, let's add doc. and then doc proxy, create repository. Okay. Now let's create roles. Add role, Nexus role, doc this means admin. Control Z, let's say Control V, admin, doc admin. Okay, let's transfer all to make it faster, and let's add additional role to doc reader and let's doc browse read read. Okay, let's create it and let's edit our user. We have jenk, we need add role docker admin. Okay, docker we can publish our image. Let's save. It's developer only can read our docker. Let's save it and let's see what we have. Another important setting are in our security. We need to navigate to realms and add docker bearer token realm. Add and save. Okay. Next step, we need to configure in our Jenkins node docker doc here this repository. Let's copy URL. Okay, let's copy this URL and let's check. Let's copy group also. Copy group. And copy a proxy we don't need because group contains proxy. Let's check in our configuration. We define port for doc. Okay, let's save that port, and let's check proxy. We didn't define, and group we define all supports. Okay, let's save it. So let's configure Docker on our node. We need to navigate to cd etc docker, then we sudo nano JSON, and we need to paste here our repositories. Let's paste here. Here are two our repositories. This is our private, this is our group. Let's save it, and let's restart our Docker. Okay, then we need to log in to our Docker. This looks like this, and we need to log in to our repositories. Let's try to log in. It's insecure. If I stayed in, the password will be stored unencrypted. Oh, but you can see that login succeed, but it's not very secure. Use for production recommendation. Okay, let's log into second one. Login succeed again. So about downloading from Nexus proxy, there are bugs with Docker credentials. I also write here my notes about my problems. When I run pipeline in Jenkins, I get this error, no basic auth credentials, but if I use terminal, okay, terminal, which one? Here it is. Here is my examples how I do the same command, docker pull image, and you can see that is pulling, but in Jenkins job it doesn't work. Let's wait. So it's downloaded now. Okay, we can see Docker images. Docker images, and we can see this image which we downloaded using proxy. The next is maven Docker. It also crashes with the same reason. It can't deploy. This is job should deploy this artifact, this image, to hosted. Let's try Docker pull push, and let's try. Tag does not exist. Okay. I'll build again. I add tags. Let's try Docker tag and there Docker push micro latest. So now it works. Let's see. I should show you a file demon.json, cut demon.json. Here we add insecure registries, but before I added HTTP, we don't need it. We just define this. Okay, and I log in to both, to this and this repository. Log it in. So let's check our repository. Here it is. Let's check our Docker proxy. We can see that here is jenkins downloaded, and let's check our doc. We can see this is micro or image, and in Docker group we can see both jenkins and micro. Okay, let's try to solve our problem with Docker. For example, when we try to pull image, we get an error response for there, no basic auth credentials. Let's try to solve it. Navigate to dashboard, manage Jenkins, credentials, add credentials. Let's username and password. Username as you might remember Jenk, and password 123. ID, I give specific ID because this is credential for Nexus, and Docker images I call it Nexus Hub. Description cred. Okay, we save it. Let's return back to dashboard and try to create with login doc with login. The main idea is that we every time when we call Nexus hub, Nexus Docker repository, we use login to Nexus. So here is pipeline, agent any, we define environment, we define variable Nexus hub, and we use our credential which we just created. And in our stage Docker pool, we firstly login to Nexus hub and then try to pull. I use HTTPD because we don't have any, we have only Jenkins, and if we look at our group, we have micro and Jenkins. So let's try to run. And wait. So you can see console output, it means that everything fine, and I have pulled image, we can see Docker pull and it pulled image. Then we can, in Docker images, we can find HTTPD. And also let's check repository, Docker group, library, and we can see HTTPD. So let's try to use the same approach using push, when we creating push pipeline. So let's define new pipeline, doc with login push pipeline. I have defined pipeline, it does the same as before, but we also added environment variable, and we use this Docker login to different port, and I define it also version 5, and here also 5 to build new artifact, because as you can see in Docker group, we now have micro. Okay, let's doc micro stacks latest, only latest for now. Okay, let's try to build. So as you can see, push is successful. You can see in console output that we pushed, and here is SHA. Let's check in our Nexus. Let's update. You can see 5th version, and also it's available in group micro tags 5 version. So that's all. Now let's configure for developer settings for maven, gradle, and docker. For maven, here is path, c user, username, and m2 folder. We can find here settings.xml, and we can redact it. Open with notepad, and let's redact it. So I have deleted everything what was before and paste the same information, but we need define here developer instead of, we also use a group here, and active profile Nexus is next. Let's define for Gradle. Okay, Gradle is find of Gradle. Gradle. Here it is, and let's see. C users, username, and .gradle. Here we can create a file. Let's create it using notepad. No, here it is. Let's create a new file with properties. I add here credentials, and file save as. Here we all types select, and here we call it Gradle properties, and let's save it in Gradle folder. Save. Okay, it appears inside our folder, you can see. And if we open, we can, and also we need to change username to dev. I miss to show you, but remember that you should change it. What is the next step? For we need to check with IDEA. Let's create project and try to use our artifacts. Let's generate project. I open Spring Initializer. Let's create using maven. Come example. Okay. No dependency. Just generate it. And let's generate with Gradle. Where's my now? Okay. And generate it. So we have them zip 1, 2. Let's open them with IDEA. So I opened my project with IntelliJ IDEA. Here we have settings and build execution, build tools, select maven. You can see that we can select wrapper or bundled maven, and here we use the things file override. We need to override the things using this. Okay, now let's add model to this project. Where we need to add to it to in dependencies. Let's add dependency and paste here our dependency. You can see that this is not available for now. Let's try to download it. So now it's available, and in external libraries we can find a UI. Here it is, the last one, and we can see all classes which we defined in this artifact. So now let's check what's inside our repository. Let's check. Okay, let's open our Nexus browser. Let's check SV, nothing changed, SV proxy. We can find here Spring should have Spring. Okay, check. Here is org Spring framework, and here is Spring Starter, Spring Boot. Spring score test. Here is boot, Spring boot, and version. Let's check what. So you can see 3.2.2. So you can see this is version which was added to our repositories. Let's open with Gradle. So let's see. First we need to understand how to define our Gradle. So okay, you can see it. Okay, I add another capture. Okay, now you can see the most important is Gradle user home. This is folder where we defined our settings.xml. For Linux we can define inside Gradle home. This is Gradle home folder. We can also in Linux we can in this Gradle 751 define that file Gradle properties, but in normal way in Windows this is Gradle user home directory where we define it Gradle properties. In Linux we can use this directory. So we choose home user home directory, and we choose directory where is bin folder. We save it, and we in our project we define repositories. Here we define group, and we define properties from Gradle properties, and we also define artifact, or this is a Gradle artifact which we'll build, but the same we can use for another artifact group, artifact ID, and version. So here I defined also model, and I download it from proxy, and here it is available for us. Okay, I also show you maven because I suppose I missed it. Here is maven, and we can define wrapper or maven home path, and we use this override use properties which we defined before, or we can apply. Let's configure our Docker in Windows. As we do in Linux, we need add insecure repositories to Docker. We can add them here. I just paste insecure registries and add comma. So because we don't push any images, we can just use group repository, just one. Apply and restart. Docker is restarted. Let's open console and try to run. So let's check our Docker. So we can see we don't have any. Let's pull, but not in Nginx. We pull micro latest. It shows us the same problem with credentials. So what we need to log in. So let's try to log in. Let's try to log in, but we need to use not Jenkins but dev, because dev can only pull. Login succeed, as you can see, and let's try again. So we can see that this works. It works. So everything downloaded and good.